Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me is 𝗤𝗏𝗏 Peer, and we are going to be talking about some very important developments in today's last 24-hour cycle. Let's welcome 𝗤𝗏𝗏 ji. 𝗤𝗏𝗏 ji, Namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you?
Jai Sri Ram, Radhe Radhe sir, all good and fine by the grip of Lord Mahakal, your Ashirwad, and the well wishes of all of us viewers across the world. Thank you and namaskaram to all.
Thank you so much. And looks like Waziristan has become active again. 16 Pakistani soldiers killed. And talk to us a little bit about this one. So does this mean that BLA is back to what it was doing best?
Sir, we'll take the name of Lord Sri Ganesh and do the Sri Ganesha, what we say in typical Hindi, and start. Well, what we know is, I was talking to just to Sachin Bhai, is 16 is declared. In Pakistan, there's a difference between declared and actual. The actual can be much higher than what is declared. Usually, Pakistan is a country which hides its dead, which doesn't want to declare a lot of people who are dead. Now, what we know in Waziristan, this is done by 𝗪𝗡𝗙𝗏𝗏, and there is this, I forget the name, there's this one faction of 𝗪𝗡𝗙𝗏𝗏 which has taken the responsibility of it. And
you're talking about TTP?
Yeah, TTP, sir. The soldiers which are dead are 16, and the soldiers which are injured are in dozens. So they detonated a car into a Pakistani army convoy, and 16 deaths were reported. The caveat is reported, and dozens are injured. In fact, the impact was so big. If you look at the houses nearby, they collapsed, and a couple of kids and a few women got injured because of the blast, the secondary effect of the blast. So it must be having a big blast. That means things in Waziristan are not in control. That is, Waziristan is part of KPK. What we all know, things are not in control. Pakistan is losing that ground. You might want to say and believe anything. You might want to say, oh, we have won and we have settled everything. And, China was trying to get everybody, Taliban and Pakistan together. China was trying to cut a deal with them. Afghanistan joining CPAC and all. But Pakistan would traditionally go, and which it has done, it has blamed Afghanistan. You are giving patronage to this. Because of your patronage, such incidents are happening in Maida territory. Hey, Pakistan, buddy, you have good friends with Afghanistan. You, Afghanistan and China, the best buddies, right? Why is this happening in your country? That is basically nobody controls Afghanistan, nobody controls Pakistan. There are pockets of power which are shared between these two countries by various powerhouses, and it's their internal frictions and factions which determine the things. So BLA has been active there, and recent news article on Arab Times which gave all the credit to BLA. Okay, BLA has killed eliminated so many people and all. I think 𝗪𝗡𝗙𝗏𝗏 guys got a bit jealous. They said, how come our neighbor's not there? We are not hitting, so let's go and do a big hit. So it's a big hit on Pakistani army. My assessment says, if you look at the video of the hit, Sri sir, I think we might be not exaggerating if we say dozens are dead and many more dozens are injured. We might not be exaggerated, but the official figure is 16. Even if we go by 16, it's a big number, and Pakistan army is getting blow after blow after blow after blow in Waziristan. So if you look at Balochistan, that's not in their control. If you look at KPK, that is not within their control. Things have started going bad in POK and GB again. That euphoria of Iran is dying, that euphoric actions and unity with Iran, that Muslim Ummah thing is dying, and they're back to business. What I look at this incident, when the Iran-Israel war was happening, there was nothing much happening in Pakistan. That was a time of Islamic unity and Ummah and all getting together and fighting the Zionist regime of Israel and the imperialist regime of America. That's what they call them. That's not what I call them. Now, what happened after that was settled? So these guys came back to their own business. That is killing each other and settling scores. Mullah Munir may go and lick anybody's shoes, may go and polish Trump's shoes, but the reality remains his soldiers are vulnerable in Pakistan. He cannot protect his soldiers in Pakistan. Pakistan army is getting slaughtered like hell, and there are more people in Pakistani army who are dying even this year, unfortunately, which have ever died before. So the numbers are rising, things are rising, and this is after all the alleged Pakistani censorship where they try to hide everything. As I told you, Sri sir, the rule in Pakistan is anything below 10-12 deaths, do not talk about it. So if 10-12 soldiers get killed, they don't talk about it. They're okay. So it's only when it crosses a threshold of 10 or 12 and all, you come to know, okay, 16 eliminated and here. But I think it's a much bigger attack. And as usual, what will Pakistan do? They will try to go get hold of some innocent people from the villages. They said these are the big terrorists. We got hold of them. We eliminated 8, and we avenged the so-called avenged this disaster. And remember that operation 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗏𝗄𝗏, 𝗥𝗚𝗡𝗏, all those funny names which they have been running here and there. But at the end of the day, if you look, who is the worst sufferer in this? It is Pakistan Army. Who takes the maximum deaths is Pakistan Army. Who is failing to protect Pakistan is Pakistan Army. And who is failing to protect himself in Pakistan? It's not the civilian, it's not the terrorist, it's the Pakistani Army today. Because these people whom you have groomed and developed and nurtured all over the years, they are in business of jihad. They only know killing or getting killed. So if you don't give them a target out of Pakistan, what they will do, they will find targets within the Pakistan. That's what I've been saying. That's the classical paradigm of the Islamic countries. You brave the jihad, you identify enemy. When the enemy is too big or enemy is out of bounds, so what do? You try to look around. Who is the next enemy? Exactly, that is what happening. So Pakistani army getting slaughtered by, again, TTP is a tyranny where Muslims are killing each other. Exactly, both are Muslims, both are Sunnis. They're killing each other. But the problem with Islam is, Islam does not recognize regional entities. Islam does not recognize cultural nationalism. Islam does not recognize any entity which is regional or local in nature. Islam recognizes what is the concept of Ummah. Ummah is the whole Muslim world. And it is their compulsion, they don't have an option. That is why they have those geographical boundaries. If you go with a classical Islamic thought, there is no geography, there is no boundaries. Everybody is the same. And let me remind you, sir, the Pakistan was not created as a country. The vision of Pakistan was an Islamic caliphate. Because if you look at what Munir said a couple of days back, he said, look, after four caliphs, after the four caliphs are gone, they had created Makkah. After that, they had created Makkah. After that, the thing which got created is Pakistan. So he was in a way saying anything which got created in between is non-Islamic, does not make sense, is not what the Prophet wanted. So after Prophet's creation of Makkah, the only place which was created is Pakistan. So point I'm trying to make, Pakistan's identity was always of an Islamic caliphate. Pakistan's boundaries are defined because you have to live in a country where you have to define the boundaries. Pakistan was the eastern flank of Medina or Makkah. The idea of Pakistan was the eastern flank, how you will spread Islam in this part of the world, how you will turn India into an Islamic country, what they typically call as Ghazwa-Hind. And when these things were built in, so all these proxies, terror groups, and all these tools were developed. These are basically tools which they developed over the time. Now the problem is that these tools have gone rogue, these tools are out of the control, so they are coming and hitting you. But your idea was always this: Pakistan was never a country. Pakistan was never supposed to do anything productive. Pakistan was the eastern flank of Medina or Makkah with the sole motive to have Islamic influence in this part of the world. And if you recall what Munir said, he's exactly endorsing that ideology. I don't want to get into his statements, we all know he's exactly endorsing that ideology. So in a way, Pakistan blames countries like Egypt, Jordan, and even Saudis for that matter, for a good reason. They are not following that Islam, what the Prophet said, or what the Prophet has professed for. So they are following a mild or a diluted form of Islam. We are those custodians of Islam. So here you have Pakistan, on the other flank you have Tayyip Erdogan, and on the other flank you have Iran. So these are the four main contenders of so-called caliphate. And when it comes to caliphate, there are no physical boundaries. Physical boundaries are only in a state of mind which are imaginary, and these all tools are legitimate. They have to be used, they have to be groomed. That's why Pakistani army says 𝗔𝗘𝗙𝗪 𝗔𝗡𝗙𝗪. That is where the motive comes from. It is all that Islamic concepts which have engraved into them. That is where the source code of Pakistan was written. And even in the Islamic world, democracy had always used to get power. But once you get the power, you come back to the basics. That is, you have to use democracy to get into power, then turn it back to Sharia. That is the classical model they try to use everywhere. And the model, in fact, got perfected in India. The model was perfected by Sheikh Abdullah. He used democracy to come to power. And he wanted a Kashmir to be crafted as a Muslim state on secular India. I mean, that is what he did to a great extent. And 370, 35 years were all byproducts of that. And those special powers, that blue white attitude, those are part of that. So even after that, a lot of people in the Islamic world, if you look at Algeria, some other countries, they started following Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah's model. And even Tayyip Erdogan followed the model. He came into power saying democracy. When he came into power, Khalifa, Islam. This is exactly what the Pakistan is also following. Pakistan is doing the same thing. Democracy and all, but in the heart of hearts, it's the eastern flank of Makkah or Medina, and they want to Islamize this part of the world. That is what the Pakistan says its mission is. In that process, things go wrong. People get killed. There are confusions. Tools cut each other, which happens. An axle can, an axle and a wheel can, corrode and start killing each other. That's what is happening here. But they're all part of the same machinery. Over to you, sir. You wanted to make a point.
Sumitji, just wanted to finish off a few things about Balochistan before we go on to our next topic, which is the rebuilding of terror infrastructure. Viewers, you have been reading something in the news about blockchain being used by United States, Trump family getting involved, and that they are also going to be issuing money to try and take resources out of Balochistan. I had done a lot of checking, and there is no truth to this. This looks to be a plant by China to try and divert attention. And actually, the truth about digital currency in the United States is something else. Eric Trump may be owning a company. I mean, anybody can own any company. They just connected, something to something and said that this is what is happening. Absolutely no truth to it. I'll tell you why there is nothing to it. BLA or BRA, did they say a single word about US? Now it is proven that things have not changed. They are back to what they are doing, which means Pakistan got played up a little bit because they needed Pakistan's help to go in and take Iran down to a couple of notches. And now that that is over, US is not even giving the time of the day to Munir Mian. So this is the situation. In fact, IMF itself, that 1 billion, just watch, okay? Now, the second thing is, and I'll tell you another development in the United States that proves that all these, fancy coins are not going to be considered in United States. There is Senate has passed a bill called the Genius Act, GENIUS. I'm sure it stands for something else. I mean, it's a big acronym. Genius Act, what it has said is that United States is going to allow adoption of what is called as stable coins. Stable coins are digital currency. Unlike Bitcoin, stable coins are backed up by an asset. Think of 𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧. Simple thing, backed by an asset. So that thing is not something like numbers. It has got something backed by an asset, and the United States dollar, US dollar, is going to be backing up the stable coin. For example, the stable coin is a class of digital currencies. One such thing is Tether, TETHER, and their symbol is 1 Tether is equal to 1 United States dollar. The reason they are doing it, I believe, is that, see how you keep reading in the news, China is dumping US Treasury bills, Japan is dumping US Treasury bills, India is selling US Treasury bills. So when this happens, China will do one thing and then they'll play it up. This happened, that happened. The US Treasury bills is under a lot of pressure. What the stable coin will allow Americans to do is to buy their own US Treasury bills. It is no longer something that will be sold to other countries or to big institutions. Even you, as a single individual owner, you can have these treasury bills, and they are like bonds, meaning like rain or shine, you'll get a certain amount of interest. Again, you have to look at the fine print to understand which gives you a better yield. This act has still not been passed in Congress, although I'm hearing that it is going through the rounds there. So I'll keep you posted on this. So United States is moving towards, from my read of the situation, a dollar which is stronger inside US and perhaps weaker outside the US. Just take my word for it. And these two dollars will be just like the way China has a renminbi and digital renminbi, where the digital renminbi is much more stronger. It's backed by gold. Same thing is going to happen in United States also. US dollar inside US will probably be backed by gold. There's no choice. That's the only way they can break China's ideology about, oh, our currency is backed by gold. US will have to match that. So wait and see. This is what is going to go. And all this news about Eric Trump and Trump family being interested. Trump talks a lot, but he's not a fool. Please understand it. Who has got Iran and Israel to get a ceasefire? 50 years, 60 years? Has anybody succeeded? Kuch to hai. He has done something there that has got both of them to back off. And there is more information coming down the pipeline. It will be revealed in the next few days. So stay tuned, because I want to double check. I don't want to just get one side of the information and claim that that's what is happening. So let's get back to the next topic. Thanks for giving this interlude. Infra, go ahead.
In fact, you have made a very important point. On all these kind of stories are floated. which cannot be validated. There's no way you can validate them. And then somebody was even sent me a text right now. He said this F-35 had come to India to spy. Maine kaha, yaar, come on, give me a break. You can create any story. Any of those Alibaba Chalice stores can be created in the retrospective. So, why should Trump is a billionaire? Why is he interested in dealing with Pakistanis out of the whole world? I mean, give him a break. He doesn't want to get his hands dirty dealing with these shitheads. So that is that part of it. So what Sree sir, you're saying this digital thing will be like what we have here as RBI bonds. Rain and shine, as long as India is there, RBI bonds are there. Okay, got it. Now let's move to the next part. The next part is, look, friends, what is happening is that 2 or 3 things. Pakistan is back to its usual self. Pakistan's these optics are not going down, and the intel what we have, and the intel which is now official, I'm not saying I have, which is official now, Pakistan's Defense Minister Khwaja Asif has admitted that China is sharing intel with them after Operation Sindoor. This means satellite intel, this means spy information, this means HUMINT, which is human-driven intelligence networks, and this means digital intelligence, all kind of intelligence, whichever China is gathering from their AWACS, from their, part of these satellites and military satellites, they are being given to Pakistan because Pakistan lacks in all of that thing. And even the human intelligence part, whatever China gets from everywhere, that is passed to Pakistan. And it is continuing after Operation Sindoor. That is why I see yesterday, Rajnath ji and before that Ajit Doval sahab behaving the way they have behaved, and it was the right behavior, and exactly that's what China understands. So that's why they behave like that. So with this information, the background, the information we have come to know, that's not only about information sharing. And Khwaja Asif says it's normal. Countries share information. No, it's not normal. Because China is giving you the information which can be used against us. You're spying on us. China is spying on us and selling the info, not selling, giving it free for Pakistan. So it is not intelligence sharing. You're not sharing anything. It's a one-way thing where China is giving, okay, hit here, hit here, hit here. So all those things are being talked about, and even these HGV vehicles, lot of things are happening between there. Now, what we have come to know, and which is also there in the pretty much in the media, is that Pakistan has started rebuilding all the terror infrastructure which was decimated. The terror infrastructure is built, and the newer camps are coming, and these camps are coming which are small. They have made them agile, smaller. They are not having this Markaz Subhanallah and things like that, where 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 jihadis could be there. Any camp will have a ceiling of 200 jihadis. Will not have more than 200 jihadis. They are trying to increase the number of camps, keep them geographically dispersed, and they are doing a couple of things more. So they have decided the parameter of each camp, or the terror camp or launch point. Everything will have a parameter now. Earlier there were no parameters. In parameters, there will be drones which will be watching over. And there'll be those specialized fences and all. Then they will have equipment, and they will have things which can camouflage the camp, which can hide the thermal signature of the camp. That is given by Chinese. And with the information is also there that the Pakistani army will be deployed to protect these camps. So these banks will be protected by Pakistan army, and needless to say, there'll be those radars in the vicinity. There might be some anti-aircraft, some kind of anti-aircraft ammunition. I can't say guns, some kind of anti-aircraft ammunition in the vicinity. So it is, and they will also have those sensors and all, where you can relay those digital messages to each other. So the camps are getting smaller, camps are getting agile, camps are getting distributed over a major geographical area, and camps will have all the high-tech equipment and Pakistani army protection, including drones and peripheries and all defined to protect them. So these are choti chawnis. These are like small cantonments, small, very miniature cantonments, which they are building. And the news is that Chinese PLA, Pakistani intelligence, Pakistani army are building them together. A lot of Chinese equipment and intel and knowledge will be used into that. So China is directly supporting now terror. There is no doubt China is now not directly supporting terror. That's point number 2. Point number 3, there was recently a meeting held in Bahawalpur, and all these guys have been seen there. They've been trying to working on them. And you know that even in the China is trying to develop ICBMs which can, Pakistan is trying to develop ICBMs which can reach US, because the idea is that if you can reach US, Tel Aviv by default becomes a target in the meanwhile. So earlier the Islamic bomb was not transcontinental. Now Islamic bomb, they're trying to make it transcontinental, and Shaheen is the missile where Chinese are giving the new propulsion system so that it can become a ICBM. Today Pakistan doesn't have ICBM. Only nuclear power in the world which doesn't have ICBM. But all these things are worked in tandem with China, and over and top of that, the cherry on the cake, Sree sir, is information flow about India's deployments, developments, whatever is there. Because I've been always saying there are around 115 Chinese satellites which are looking at us constantly. And trying to know each and everything we are doing. So Chinese satellites are not giving the information to PLA. They seem to be giving all the information to Pakistan, because Pakistan is the pawn of China. Pakistan is the vassal state of China. So the infrastructure is coming up. So my submission, before I hand over to Sree sir, that Sindoor part 2 is going to reveal soon. Sindoor cannot end. And this time the second wave which will become, it will be a joint venture between Pakistan and China. Front ending will be done by Pakistan, but it's a 70-30 kind of a partnership. 70% front end Pakistan, 30% back end China. That is how this whole thing is panning out, and Pakistanis are very blatantly and directly saying, yes, it's happening, we are doing it. I mean, this is natural for us. So Pakistan has not changed. Don't think Pakistan will ever change unless and until you break Pakistan into 4 parts and get rid of those people who run things there. You know what I mean? Who run things there. It is not going to stop. It is not going to dampen. That is my point of one. And I'm handing over to Sree sir and come back. Sir.
Thank you so much. And to round out the information about Pakistan and its ICBM program, I put out a monologue today morning, and do look at that. It's just 8 to 9 minutes. That gives you more details about this. They don't really have the technology. They most likely are going to borrow it from China. Actually, if you think about it, we don't think that Pakistan ever seriously built a nuclear bomb. See, 1998, when India blasted it, they had to do something. Because otherwise it would look like they are Napunsak. So what they did was they went and borrowed something from North Korea or China. They just transported it and then blasted it inside Pakistan to say, this is our Islamic bomb, or this thing, our bullshit. And this is how it's looking like. Because the same story is playing out in Iran also. At least Iran, they have all these centrifuges to show. I am very doubtful how much they have in Kahuta, how many centrifuges they have in Kahuta. We'll get you that information shortly. How many centrifuges are in operation? Kahuta is where the processing happens, enrichment happens. So we'll give you that information. I'll tell you one other thing, viewers. India does not have a lot of options in terms of POJK and Gilgit-Baltistan. Both these places have solid Chinese presence now. So, and just you have to ask yourself, why? Why do you need this? Leave emotion out of it. Put hard logic. What is it that India can do today for which it doesn't have to depend on anybody else? You can clean out the 0.5 inside India, right? Second thing is you can reduce dependence on China for imports. API, raw materials go from India, and then the Chinese create this API and give it back to us. And again, we use that to create the pharma. Why do you need that middle intermediate step to go to China and come back? Why can't India have its own API layer of manufacturers? India's reverse engineering of pharma is far superior than anybody else in the world. See, I'll tell you the real truth today. Today, Pfizer and all the big drug makers in United States, once there's a time that you can use name brand, after that you have to allow generic brands to enter the market. Everybody has their own version of generic brand, so that generic will not come in. Like India's 𝗏𝗏𝗏 won't be able to sell. They have their own generic brand for which they source it from India and put 10-15% above and then sell. So this is the truth. So if India can do a finished pharma product, India can do its own API. I think if Modi government is trying a lot. It takes a little bit of time because it's a big ship and it takes time to turn around. And I hope that those of you who are in the pharma business will agree with me that API can be done by India itself, after which you don't need to import. That's a big component from China, because the export component is huge. India continues to get it from there. So you become lazy after some time. Wahan se mil raha hai, why do we have to do it ourselves? You know, this is the thing. Okay, over to you. Let's go to the third topic. Sarji, we are 25 minutes into it. We have 2 more topics. So zara jaldi kare, 5 minutes.
No, I have to add one thing to it. You know, I have been strongly advocating that unless and until India takes a target, Bharat takes a target. Look, the US FDA or the BTA is likely to happen. It's a matter of time. Now you are talking of with Americans, you're going to do $500 billion of business by 2030. A lot of people may not like it. They may bash America. They may say de-dollarization. Kuch nahi ho raha. Nothing like that is happening. Now, at the same time, I'm requesting government of India to take a target that in next 4 or 5 years, 3 years, let's say the business with China is this much. It's, I think, 130 or 170 billion dollars. We have to bring it to 20 billion dollars. The first thing is forget trade surplus or deficit. You have to reduce the quantum of business with China, because if you want to save your country and your interests, anything from China is a potential time bomb which can be weaponized at the right point of time. So if you have a business with, let's say, $20 billion and non-essential items, it's okay. I'm not saying don't do any business, but the quantum of business which we have right now has to be drastically reduced. So if you're increasing the Americans to this much, from 190 to $500 billion, parallelly you have to work from China from this much to this much. Some residual business link which doesn't matter at economy of that size and which cuts this China's tail of dependence. What she is highlighting, I'm highlighting at a macro level. Cut the tail of dependence altogether. That is my hand-folded request to the government of India. That's what we should be really taking a target and doing on it. Now after that, we move to Trump versus Khamenei. It's the interesting part and the Iranian drama. They're basically interlinked. I think within the next 10-15 minutes, we should be able to cover that. Trump has been nice to Khamenei. Trump has been kind to Iran. But these Irani mullahs will never change. Khamenei has been saying, though nobody has seen, by the way, Khamenei. He's still not out of the bunker. No live, nothing. It's all some handwritten notes, some pre-recorded videos. No live. Even his son is still missing. Are they alive? Are they dead? We don't know. We can only contemplate, but nobody has seen them. Why they are scared? They should come up out of the bunker. There's a ceasefire. Now, couple of things which have happened here. I'll put them one by one. And you know, this is my favorite topic. Now, the first thing is that Trump said yesterday, after the Iranians started saying, oh, we have won. Ah, jeet gaye. We have won. Now, Trump was living with it. He was letting it go. Let it go. But beyond that time, he got crazy. He said, what the hell, man? What are you talking? Now, Trump had a big truth post yesterday. What did he say? First of all, he said, so-called supreme leader, if you are a man of faith, you should not lie. If you claim to be a mullah and Maulana, the first thing as a man of faith, you should not lie. Why are you lying? He said, you are devastated. You have lost the war. You have lost your generals, you have lost your scientists, you have lost everything, and you are still saying you have won the war. How come? You have been decimated. It was a virtual surrender which we camouflaged or which we kind of sugar-coated as a ceasefire. There was nothing like that. Point number 3, Mr. Supreme Leader, you are alive because I spared your life. Because I kind of asked Israel or forced Israel not to eliminate you. Or we did not eliminate you, and we chose this not to eliminate you, sending a very strong message. We can eliminate you whenever we want. We know where you are. We know how good your defenses are. That's point number 2. Point number 3, sorry. Point number 4 is I was working on a thing where I could take away those sanctions from you, thinking that you have changed. But I have asked my team, stop. Do not take away any sanctions from them. Let the sanctions happen and let these people rot. He says, point number 5, if you don't stop enriching the uranium, we'll come and bomb you again. Point number 6, I want American cameras inside your nuclear sites, or I want IEA to have cameras and full access to your nuclear sites. If you deny IEA and if you deny Americans direct access, we are going to bomb you again. We will bomb you again and make sure none of these sites are working or functional. And in the last, Mr. Khamenei, if you don't want death and destruction in your country, if you don't want your country devastated, it is better you mend your ways and stop this crap what you have been talking about. And he says Israel, in the last few hours of the ceasefire, was coming with the biggest ever load of bombs, with the biggest ever attack. I mean, mother of all attacks. They were trying to come and bomb you. They will have decimated you and your country. I stopped them. I urged Israel. I requested Israel, kindly pull your pilots back. It's only on my saying Israel pulled their pilots back. Even before when the ceasefire was announced in the last few hours, Israel could have completely decimated your country. And I'm stopping them because I asked them, do not do it. And on the top of that, this is what bloody you're saying, you're creating this drama. We have won. We have America is shaking. We have done this to them. And what Zionist regime is going to break up. they're going to break up, and the things are going to happen like that. This is all crap. You are a man of faith. You should not be lying. But Mr. Trump, you forgot all the mullahs lie. That is what they're good at. That is the only thing they do. They lie. They lie all the from 32 teeth they have. So that is point number one. And then comes a very important thing. 𝗔𝗫𝗏𝗏 said, I have instructed IDF to take Iran as Lebanon. What does that tell you? Interesting part. When I was telling you last, when on one of the last PGurus episodes, how the things will escalate, I said one day Israel will say there's a convoy going. I have to attack that because I believe that there's nukes are there or something is there. They'll go and attack. So when the ceasefire happened, they've been busy bombing in Lebanon, taking some assets in Syria, and also handling Gaza. Now, as per 𝗔𝗫𝗏𝗏's statement, now Iran is equal to Lebanon. So that means IDF is at will to go and eliminate anybody, go and dismantle any assets which they think are worth of dismantling. So technically, this ceasefire is already breaking. This ceasefire, you can see, already face sizable cracks in it, which will indicate that the ceasefire is already in very sad state. It is hanging by the slender. Like it can just break any time. So that's the spot. Because Trump has used 3 times, I'll bomb you again, I'll bomb you again, I'll bomb you again, I'll bomb you again. Because Trump is pissed. I'm trying to help you. Hey, I saved your country. I saved your life. What the hell? You want and come and insult me? You insult my military. You insult my capabilities. Another important aspect which Trump talked about, he said, look, these GBU-57s, they went inside for 6 of them. 3 first and 3 after. 30,000 tons of explosive. And if you know that where the centrifuges are, there are those big refrigerator doors, because the last centrifugation, last enrichment happens at minus 57 degrees centigrade, where UF 35 is converted to U2. It happens at a centrifuge where it's fed as a gas, and it happens at minus 57 degrees centigrade. He said, then obviously there are those, refrigerator doors and all. Trump confirmed yesterday those refrigerator doors have been hit. So what does that tell you? The first thing that tells you, possibly site is contaminated, which we can be 99% sure. Secondly, with that shock and damage, those centrifuges are not working. So if that shock and damage happens to those centrifuges, they're highly aligned, they're very precisely aligned machines. And with that kind of shock and damage, they are not aligned anymore. And the site is buried under millions of tons of rock. Point number 4. The site was around 30 stories deep. 30 stories deep. A lot of those people who say nothing happened, they took the uranium and all that. And Trump said, he said, now there is no credible evidence. There is not even evidence to suggest that the uranium was taken out of this. Earlier it was PGurus, and now it was Trump. Now I'll tell you one interesting part. Trump says if there was no, and by the way, Americans released a video of the site got decimated. Now Trump says something very interesting. He says bombs were dropped. Bombs don't detonate on the surface. They go down, and they have 3 layers of detonation, 3 levels, and they detonate at the right point. He says, my tomahawks hit the sites with 1 feet of accuracy, and my GBU-57s hit the site with 9 inches of accuracy, and GBU-57 was exactly made for Fordo. Now, what is the biggest proof? He says, when the bombs hit one after one, and it is almost 30 stories down, where the where the core is, he says, if impact is so much, and the fire was so much, the firepower was the trees on the surface. The trees are here is my, here is my, those centrifuges. The bombs came here and destroyed them. There are trees here, and here. These trees got burned. Whereas no bombs were used on the surface. Every bomb, you can imagine the quantum of fire which they produce. The tree is 30 meters up on the surface, got burned. He says, what more do you want to say? So this all drama and all is going. So he says that after exactly this Trump statement, 𝗔𝗫𝗏𝗏 said, okay, treat Iran as Lebanon. So IDF will be preparing for the attacks, and IVF is replenishing. And let me give you another fact which you must all know. Well, you must be all wondering, why did Trump decide to go for a ceasefire all of a sudden? This is a question everybody's mind is there. And most of the people think Trump is insane and he's crazy, and he's that is the image they're trying to create about Trump, which I don't agree. Now, the information what we have, which is now official, Iran has some kind of a missile which is good. Which has been able to pass the Iron Dome a couple of times. Now, for the first time, Israel says the losses from Iran attack are $3 to $5 billion. This has for the first time happened in the history of Israel. Israel has never said this. First time. Another thing, where is the heart? Where is everything? Why did America do the ceasefire? It's because of heart. What is the problem with 𝗏? 7 𝗏 batteries have been made. 2 were deployed in Middle East, I think March and April. Now, 1 𝗏 battery comes with 48 to 72 interceptors. One interceptor is $15 to $20 million. 𝗏 is supposed to intercept all those big ballistic missiles, those huge ones, right? Now, what happened is, it is believed, and it is official now, Sree sir, in 12 days of battle, America ran out of 20% of the total 𝗏 batteries they had. 20%. So if it is believed to be that America has around 800 𝗏 batteries. So 160 𝗏 batteries were consumed in 12 days. America needs to keep at least 50 to 60% 𝗏 batteries always, those interceptors, to protect America. So practically, if you do the mathematics, you are left with 10-12 days of war ammunition. After that, there was no shield. And imagine the quantum of wars which are brewing in the world. So I think Trump did a decision. I think they used 𝗏 extensively. Possibly Arrowhead, possibly Iron Dome, possibly others could not intercept a lot of missiles. So 𝗏 was used for a lot of interceptions. So the batteries which were supposed to use very, very scarcely were used very, very generically. So then what did Trump say? They said, okay, we'll pull off. So Lockheed Martin will take at least 4 to 6 months to get the 6 stocks back. And to make 1 𝗏 battery, it's around 2 years. But to get the replenishment, it's 4 to 6 months, even in a wartime. So these are some of the important aspects which I want to bring with you with facts, figures, and numbers, what exactly happened. This is believed to be a reason why I say, okay, let's pull off, because you cannot put everything in this war. You have to protect America also. So 60% of the batteries cannot be, those interceptors cannot be touched. So with 20% of the interceptors left, you could carry on for 10, 12 days more. So a lot of things happen, friends, behind the curtains, behind the scenes, which I never told, but in due course of time, things start coming up. And, practically, Iran's side are all decimated. Now we'll come to the drama after Sree sir's comment. Sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have test footage of a bunker buster bomb. Test footage means it's done as an experiment to show you how much of a devastation this has. This is not to say that this is what is the one that happened on Fordo. No, this is just an demonstration. Take a look at it.
Now see. That is how the fire comes up 30 stories up.
Yeah.
30,000 tons of explosive these 6 bombs carried, approximately. That's the quantum of blast power they carried. Wow. आ गया.
So this gives you an idea of its capacity to be able to go below and obliterate stuff. That's just a demonstration. This is not the actual event. It happened at night, so there's no way it could have been captured. So just wanted to tell you that. Sarji, if you could quickly go about the state funeral drama, and then we can go to questions.
Sir, the one point is very important. If the trees got burnt 30 stories above, that you can see the amount of fire and fireball it produced. And in that,
you saw the fireball come out of the outlet, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to correlate with. When it went up, it burned the trees 30 stories above. You can imagine what we're talking about here. And Trump said that. It's not my hypothesis, by the way. A lot of people will start jumping right now. Achha, Iran versus... Now, what has Iran done? Now, Iran is a country which says nobody died. Nobody was killed. Everybody's alive. Everybody's alive. Now, what did they do? 60 coffins were stacked with their names. Oh, I don't know what was left in the coffins of this brigadier, Hussein Salami, Mullah Muhammad, and Brigadier, and all those top guys. And the state funeral was doing. Their names were on the flag, and they would put those Iranian flag, and they were marched through, and the people were coming on the roads and all. Now, what is Iran trying to do? Is Iran is trying to make a mockery out of state funerals, because they are trying to pile up the dead bodies and try to show the Islamic world, look, I am the axis of resistance. I am the one who's fighting for Islam. It is because of me Islam is surviving. Your Saudis did not fight. Your Jordan did not fight. Your Egypt did not fight. Nobody dared to fight America. I am fighting the Jews and the Christians. It's my might. Look, Look how many of my people, top guys, have been eliminated, and still the resolve of Iran is there, and that is why Iran is the de facto leader of the Muslim world. You remember the first move when I started? I said there are 4 contenders today: Pakistan, Erdogan, Iran. The 3-4 contenders who want to contend this. I said, look, we are the real contenders. See how much of sacrifices we have done. So this all funeral drama, starting from a point nobody was killed, starting from a point we don't know anybody is killed, starting from a point of stacking up dead bodies with their photos and running them through the streets, just to show how much of sacrifice we have done. This is basically to kind of flare of all the Shia passions around the world, flare of Muslim passions around the world, and try to get a united front against America and Israel. That is what the ambition is, what the desire is. So parading its dead, or I would rather, sorry to say this, because parading its dead in order to get political mileage and weightage is the new bravado of Iran. The country which never accepted somebody was killed, and suddenly there are these 60 bodies. But the problem I have with the logic is most of these bodies were burned or decimated beyond recognition. What is inside coffins? That is why no coffin was opened. They just had the coffin with the name, and no coffin was opened. I'm not even sure within these coffins did you exactly have the dead bodies or not, because nobody knows how they were killed. And if they were buried inside a bunker or all, who would go and pull out a body of a commander from a bunker which has millions of tons of rock on it? Who went there? Who is going to go there? Nobody is going to go there. So what are you trying to say? What are you trying to project? You are trying to project a situation which possibly never happened, or we are trying to now sell those names which have been eliminated. You don't have dead bodies. You're even trying to give an impression. Is exactly what was done with Hassan Nasrallah. What was done with Hassan Nasrallah? So remember, they showed a coffin, Hassan Nasrallah. The fact remains Hassan Nasrallah got burned in the bunker. There was no dead body. He was reduced to ashes. Because if the gold had melted, that means Hassan Nasrullah's body was burned. But as per the Islamic laws and rituals, if the body is burned, you don't get Jannat or whatever. You don't go to the heaven. So what they wanted to say, we have the bodies intact. We have the bodies in one piece. And now we are going to do an Islamic burial of the bodies, while there were no bodies in most of the cases. The bodies were charred or blown beyond recognition. They might have burned or blown to smithereens. That is what has possibly happened. Now, even with the people who are dead, Khamenei is trying to run his politics over the dead bodies, or fake coffins with the names, and trying to show the Islamic bravado and trying to get the ummah, let's do it. No country in this pawn planet Earth does such a mockery, does such a drama. You pile dead bodies over each other and pull them through the streets of Tehran. What are you trying to do? It is a sign of weakness, or is it a sign of bravado? To me, it is a circus of the absurd. It is the sign that your mullah regime has failed, where your country is devastated, and you screw up one more time, and Trump will walk the talk, because Trump has set the new normal. He's the only American president who could bloody dare to get into Iran and bomb you. Nobody other had the guts to do it. He has the guts to do it, and he will do it again. And today you are defenseless. You can't do anything. If B-52s again come, tomahawks, they can fire tomahawks from 1,000 miles away from the sea. What is your defense? What is the system you have? You mullahs want to decimate a country. You want to dismiss the country. You are using every piece of evidence, opportunity, and situation for your political gains. That is what you mullahs are good at. You are good at absolutely nothing except, getting your political mileage over the death and destruction. You are the merchants of death who sell death and destruction. It may be civilians, it may be those non-state actors, or it may be people in uniform for your political survival, for your political marriage, for your existence, and for your fiefdoms to stand, and for you to give an impression that you are the great saviors of Islam and everybody else is an idiot, and Islam is at a constant threat where it needs to be protected, and only by the killing or getting killed you can protect Islam. That is what you always try to show. This is a proof to the world. This regime's mentality is corrupted. You can never ever change this regime unless and until you get rid of them. Unless and until there's a regime change in Iran, nothing is going to change on ground. Unless and until you break Pakistan, nothing is going to change in ground. Unless and until you get rid of Tayyip Erdogan, nothing is going to change in Turkey. And these are the three main contenders of the throne of so-called Islamic Caliphate. And everybody thinks I'm the best suited to carry the flag of Islam and take it to the next level. So there was Afghanistan used to be at one point of time, but it's no longer there in the game. They're a very small confined power. But the question is that if China gives an ICBM to Pakistan with an MIRV, if the Islamic bomb becomes transcontinental, are Americans okay with it? Is Europe okay with it? And I asked my friends in Tel Aviv, are you okay with it? Because if you look at this world, there are three trophies. Number one is America. Number two is Tel Aviv. Number three is Bharat. So these are three trophies of the jihadis across the world. America, number one. Tel Aviv number 2 and Bharat is number 3. So for America, for Tel Aviv and for Bharat, we have to really think where the hell the things are going. And do we let these happen? Or can we allow them to do this happen? That's a question which you have to think. And for Mr. 𝗟𝗏𝗏 and Mr. Vladimir Putin and all, if this Islamic bomb gets transcontinental and gets on a Chinese missile, nobody on planet Earth is safe. Today, Pakistan is the only country which has a bomb, but not a ballistic missile, which is an ICBM basically, which cannot go transcontinental. The problem of ballistic Islamic bomb was regional. Now it is going to be transcontinental. Wake up world, smell coffee. Do you still want it? Can you take the risk? And imagine there was a country like Iran which was trying to make one. And there's a country like Pakistan which possibly has one. And if China, your good friend China, gives them whatever they want, then goodbye.
Half of it doesn't work, sir. Half of it doesn't work. Half of it doesn't work.
That is the silver lining. That is, God's grace. That is God's grace. It doesn't work. But, you have to see, this is the Islamic mentality. This is how they think. Nothing changes. That's why they all use democracy to get to power. Once they get to power, then they come back to their old techniques and tactics. It's exactly same replicated across the whole world. I don't know when the world will see the reality and will keep with Israel and America and Bharat always keep on suffering, or we with others wake up and smell coffee and know the danger they are going to handle in near future to come.
Sumitji, I'll tell you one thing. Countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, these are all more responsible, including Oman. They don't come out and 𝗍𝗏𝗏, they don't give statements. They're all looking at what is going on in Iran, and they also don't want Iran to have a bomb. Because Iran, if it can't threaten Israel, if it can't threaten US, if it can't threaten Bharat, who will it threaten next? These people. Because they'll say, you have oil, give us the oil. Remember, that's what they want to do with Straits of Hormuz. They are still threatening that if we park, their story is if you park 2 ships at the right places, nothing can move in or out. This is the story they are giving. So somewhere there is some realization that has to dawn. We have to wait and see, give some time. When this Islamization, this radicalism, this thought that Ummah will unite us all will stop is if one country amongst all these prosperous Islamic countries decides to say, we no longer have Islam in our country. We are going to completely disband Islam. This is going to happen, may happen in your lifetime, Sumitji. I'm hopeful. So once that happens, the whole story will change completely. This is what Islam does. It's a very radical mindset. It cannot sustain. Let's take some questions now, sir.
Sure, sir. And you are right, sir. They are pushing it to the extreme now. They are pushing it to the extreme.
Yeah. Shrikant Satarkar wants to know, Putin and Jinping not to attend BRICS, is it end of BRICS?
It is, you see, organizations like BRICS, SCO, as I was telling you, that they have started cracking. Because these unilateral or multilateral forums, whatever you want to call them, they change their structure as per time, practically, while it comes to implementation. They are not able to deliver. Today's time is of preemptive strikes. Today's time is survival of the fittest. Today's time is, if they get it, they will kill you or you kill them first. These forums are not being able to do anything. Look, you cannot be sitting in a SCO. You have Iran here, you have China here, and you have Pakistan here, and you're sipping coffee with them. What do you expect a Dr. Jaishankar to do? What do you expect a poor chap to do? You know what they're up to. You know what, every day we're talking what they're up to, how they're trying to kill us by 1,000 ways. So when these things, push comes to shove, and brother, I've been telling you, if you have China in any forum, that forum will die under the weight of China. I've been telling you that's for the last 3 years, 4 years. And that's exactly what is happening. Any forum which has China, it's not going to work. People have to realize.
Next one, please. Rajaraman wants to know, won't China assess Pakistan double game and stabbing Iran just to please US? It may happen to China also.
China is a country which is not driven by logic, sir. China is a country which is driven by some heretical pride and some self-proclaimed greatness. So these people who are running China right now is the Communist Chinese Party, works on that ethos and logic. And the person who is running it right now, Mao, this Xi, thinks he's a reincarnation of Mao and he can kind of do some revolution. The problem with communists is they every day think they can make a revolution. They can change the whole world. That is the ethos they live, breathe and survive with. So these people don't go by logic. They go by, is there a chance of revolution or not? Can I be the hero of revolution or not? And these all things promise them that revolution, at least that hallucination of a revolution. So they will go for it. So don't think they are They are bothered. They will arm Pakistan to anything so that Pakistan can do the dirty job for them. And Pakistan is a terrorist with no demands.
Next one, please. Jacob Paul, thank you so much for your super sticker. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Trump never encouraged any war during his first term and his policy seems so now too. Why then is there a view that he wants Nobel Prize and his actions are towards that end? Listen, he has put out a statement in Truth Social. I don't care about Nobel Prize. This is his statement. I double checked that. He's already said that. I don't.
Sree sir,
yeah.
Sree sir, I've been always telling them, mere bhai, he doesn't want Nobel Prize. This is an alibi he uses. This is a facade he uses. These are all political games. Look, you have to understand Trump. B2s were in the air, and he and 𝗠𝗢𝗏 was saying, "Oh, is there a bomb? Oh, did she say this?" I mean, they all have to do this. They can't tell you, "Oh, my B2 bombers are in the air. They're going to hit you any day." And imagine from Missouri to Tehran, it's not 42 hours for a B2 bomber. They were in the region. They were hovering around, waiting for the right time and moment to hit. That's a debatable what they were looking at, Ranga sir. But even when they were in the air, they have seen that part of a, a lot of that conversation between 𝗠𝗢𝗏 and Trump. Oh, do they have a bomb? I don't think they have a bomb. So why do you think the Americans have to be very clear and transparent with their strategies, while other side can be 100% opaque, can 100% do treachery and do 100% 𝗤𝗘𝗙𝗑𝗪 and do all the 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗪 all the time, and you want the other side to be clean? Well, that is not going to happen. This is a new normal.
Next one, please. Suresh Kumar wants to know, Sumitji, we couldn't still track down the Pahalgam killers despite several arrests. They may have already crossed the border. Don't you think it is our failure, sir?
Sir, I have been very clear on this, that if they were SSG commandos and they were Hezbollah and Hamas cadre, which is still stretch my neck out and say, now we know there was a SSG commando for sure. When these operations happen, exactly on that day when it happened, I told you, if we get them in next few hours, otherwise they will have gone out. Why? Because if commandos are infiltrated or these high-profile cadres infiltrated, which is possibly Hamas and Hezbollah included, they also have the commando units. So they will be given an entry point, they will be given a marching point, exit rallying point, and an evacuation point. So your next few hours, if you get them in 4-6 hours, otherwise they will reach the evacuation point, they'll be taken out from there. So it's all possibility. They have been taken out from there. Yes, they're local overground workers and all, they'll be hunted. They will be taken out. That is, it is not I'm telling you, Surejji, today, same day when it happened, this was my stand on it. Couple of hours you get them, otherwise they will have moved them out. Because for jihadis, there's no evacuation. There is no exit point, there is no rallying point, there is no evacuation point. They're supposed to die. But for these high-profile assets, they will always evacuate them. And I still stretch my neck out. I think beyond Pakistan's SSG commanders, the Yusuf Hamza, they were Hamas and Hezbollah cadre. I won't be surprised if Hezbollah was not there. I think more of a Hezbollah rather than a Hamas, they were there. And there were the 5 people, 6 people who pulled the trigger. That is where the cadre came from. That is where the group came from.
Next one, please. Sudipto Chakrabarti wants to know, how come Khamenei never questioned Chinese plunder of Islam? They are otherwise so sensitive, especially vis-a-vis India. Because India doesn't go and hit back. India doesn't cut off funding. See, China has 400 billion stuck in Iran, guys. 400 billion. And if China stops buying oil from Iran, done. Iran is completely collapsed. Will completely collapse.
Absolutely, you hit it the nail. But India doesn't hit them back. India doesn't retaliate. If India starts retaliating, these mullahs will also get a piece of their mind. The most atrocities, if are done against Muslims in this planet, on this planet Earth, in this century, is Uyghurs in China. But none of them dares to open the mouth. Because they know there's a financial repercussion, and it's all political Islam, sir. What Khamenei is, Khamenei or whatever his, I may not have pronunciation right, it's all disguise. It's a mukhota. He's wearing this beard and kapda and all. You know, what was found in Hassan Nasrallah's bunker? Burned dollars, molten, gold, which was possibly
gold bricks,
and some human these remains. Who were there? Possibly some of this believe that some of them were women and were the sex slaves in the bunker. We don't know. Can be, cannot be. So somebody said, oh, his daughters were in the bunker also. So what were daughters doing in the bunker? Maybe they were daughters, maybe they were not daughters. We don't know. But when you get into them, it is politicization of Islam. They use Islam to be in the power. That's what they do. They are all disguised. It's a makhota, sir.
Freshly brewed. Thank you so much. Are PAK's nukes operational? Putin fears an arrest from ICC for war crimes, but she has an anti-Indian attitude. China is a paper tiger when it is war.
You see,
one second. I want only one question per person. You can have 3, 4 separate questions. Just have one question. It becomes very difficult when you have multiple questions. We'll just answer the first one. Are PAK's nukes operational?
You see, it is highly debatable. In my opinion, we have to start questioning, is PAK still a nuclear power? Because having nukes doesn't make you a nuclear power. Can you deploy them? Can you deliver them? Can you assemble them? Do you have a nuclear command and control structure? I believe that is severely dented and impacted in Pakistan. So it's highly debatable. Unless or until there's some credible evidence, which we know it's a nuke power, we can be apprehensive or under in today's time under their nuclear status and their capability to deliver anything.
Next one, please. 𝗤𝗘𝗙𝗿 𝗠𝗎𝗍 wants to know, it's Pakistan once again preparing new infra and terrorist camps near borders? Do you think Pakistan is misusing the loans and aid? Nothing has come yet, boss. Nothing has come yet.
So Pakistan will beg, borrow and steal and run Islamic Jihad. They will sell their kidney to run this Islamic Jihad. They don't need a loan. Understand? That's why I took first 7-8 minutes to tell you what the concept of Pakistan was about. It was never a country. It was that extension of Islamic Caliphate, which did after 4 Shahs, the expansion started, and it's not done as per Islamic ways. Why did Munir tell you, decode this language, sir? Why did he tell you after Medina, only Pakistan was built? He believes all this world which came between even the Islamic world is not the real Islamic world. They are not propagating the cause of Islam. We are the only ones who were built as a part of the northern flank of the Makkah or Medina to propagate the cause of the Islam in this part of the world. You decode his language, that's exactly what Munir is saying.
Thank you so much, Sumit-ji, and that brings us to close of today's program. Let's take the Ashirwad of Mahadev.
On that note, brothers and sisters, thank you very much. And kindly like, share and subscribe our channel, press the bell icon and click on all the 4. And please share this on your WhatsApp groups. It's very, very important with a note that they must see it. On that note, and with that assurance, which I'm assuming and presuming will happen, Bharat Mata ki jai, Vandhe Mataram, Om Namah Parvati Pataya, Har 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 Mahadev.
Thank you.